Hi everyone, it's Sue back. So I am procrastinating at the moment. I've had a really busy morning. I am just sitting down with a cuppa and I just thought I would try and do a little bit more on this giveaway journal. As I said, I am procrastinating in a big way. I've got so much to do. I'm back at work again tomorrow after having had a couple of days off, but I just need to get a little bit of creative time in, so I thought I'd just do a little bit more work on this journal. I have no idea how long it's going to be, what we're exactly going to be doing, but I just thought I'll have a play, turn the camera on and just see what happens. So this is just the bits and pieces that I had from the last video. So we chose the first video we did our cover, and then we chose our signature papers, which are still here, and I haven't done anything with them since last time we were here. So what I'm going to do, I might just use my trimmer actually. I'm just going to trim these down and get the white edges off. You can do this before you fold them, because sometimes you might get a little bit of white still on part of the page, but I just prefer to just fold them. It just cuts down on a bit of work. So you can see there's still a bit of a white trim there. I'm not particularly worried about that. I'll probably ink that anyway and hide that. You wouldn't get that though if you cut them down before you folded. So it's only that corner there which I obviously didn't fold the piece straight. So let me just grab these extra bits. So I might just trim these down now. So how have you all been? Hope you've been well. Touch wood, I've been well, but I've just been extremely busy getting wedding ready and honeymoon ready. So it's 1 month tomorrow. So it's getting very, very close. We finally worked out our arbor yesterday and what we were doing with it. Mum came over and helped me. Well, she sewed the fabric for the arbor. We're making our own arbor. Look at that. That's we've made our own arbor and we've decorated it. So it's currently standing decorated in our lounge room, only because I like the way it's set up. So we're going to try and dismantle it without having to take all the fabric and everything off it. So while Mum was doing that, I've got 2 outdoor chandeliers that I am trying to, I don't know what you'd say, well, do up. They're currently a creamy colour and you put candles on them. They're a creamy colour and they've rusted from being outside for multiple years. And they were just filthy. So I've taken all the crystals off them. I've got new jump rings. There's just, I used 300 jump rings yesterday because I actually put all the crystals back together after I cleaned them all up. So that's another job out of the way. I've just got to repaint the chandeliers. So I've got a rust-proof paint, just a spray paint that I'm going to use to do that. So I just need to wait for a day where it's not overly windy or breezy. There's a bit of a breeze out there today and it's an enamel paint, so I don't particularly want it blowing everywhere, or particularly up in my face. So yeah, once that's done, then I've got to put them all back on. Hopefully I get them back on there the right way. So that's what we've been doing. And then today I've been weeding the garden, doing the washing, doing a bit of housework, just all that mundane stuff that has to be done, which means you don't get any creative time in, but that's all good. So what I'm doing here is I'm just looking at the Edith Holden pages. So they're too tall for the journal, and I'm not measuring. I don't measure. I just, certain things I measure, but with my signatures, I don't care if they're all different sizes. I think it adds a bit more interest to the journal. For me personally, if it's got, the more interest the journal's got, the more inclined I am to actually write in it. So I'm not sure whether you guys are the same. So I'm just looking to see, because I've got a lot of space up the top here on all of these, I can trim the excess down off that top bit. I just don't want to lose too much of the Edith Holden image, really. Such beautiful pages. So as I said, just doing this really, really roughly. So this one I can do up the top as well. I am just going to lose a little bit of that image there, but that can't be helped. So this one had to be cut down considerably as well, and I quite like that torn edge. So I'm going to keep that torn edge up the top, and I'm going to take the bulk of the excess off the bottom here and just compare it. There you go, that's good, and that doesn't need trimming. Yeah, I think that's all of them. I'll just get rid of this rubbish. My poor rubbish bin is overflowing. I've nearly finished my travel inserts that I've been decorating. I've almost finished them. I didn't end up doing any on camera because I just had to get it done. I just find when I'm on camera I fiddle around too much. So I think I ended up decorating 6. I will do a flip through of those shortly if that's something that you might be interested in. So yeah, I did 6 of them, and then hopefully I won't need too many more. I have put in a couple of blank inserts so that, and I'm taking a little bit of washi tape, that sort of thing. So hopefully I'll have enough, as Jim said. I'm sure you'll buy some stationery overseas as well. He knows me so well. So I more than likely will. But I am taking a tiny little bit of washi tape and a few tags and some rub-ons and that sort of thing, just so that, you know, if we're exhausted and we're in the hotel, I don't like just sitting and doing nothing. So I can do that and rest at the same time. Okay, so these I'm just, so you can see they're all different sizes, you know, height and width. I love that. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay. So I am just trimming the edges off these. So I'm going to trim this one down so it's just, I don't have to fold it or anything. Excuse me, and now I'm going to cough. Hang on a sec. Sorry about that, tickle in my throat. So this is, as I said before, I mean, and I don't need to harp, I hope it's not boring, but I just wanted to show you a little bit of my process, my way of thinking, how I put my journals together. Most of you probably have your own way, and my way, you might think, wow, she's a bit weird the way she does things, but I don't know, that's just how my brain works, and it seems to work for me. So that's what I do, and that's why I'm just showing you how I do it, just so that you can get a little bit of an idea. So, and then as well, I know there's a lot of ladies that are newbies to junk journaling, so it might give someone a few ideas, because I know when I first started out it was really confusing. Like, I didn't know how many pages to put in a signature, that sort of thing. And I don't think there's any hard and fast rule really with regards to that. You just end up working out your style and how many pages you think you need, in your journals. I tend to over decorate, so my journals become quite thick. You can see this I folded before and they had a heap of white. That doesn't worry me, you're not going to see that. That's going to be in the back. Yeah, I tend to over decorate my journals, so I don't put as many, probably as many pages in the signatures anymore as what I used to do. But, you know, I just try and, I think I said, I try 25, I think I normally try and put in these and then decorate from there. Because they're a soft covered journal, they're pliable, so, you know, you've got room to move with them. So that's always a good thing. So these are all just folded. These are in absolutely no order of how they will be in the journal. And as you can see, as I said, these are all different sizes, and that really doesn't worry me. I just think that that adds interest. I know some people like to have them all flush. I don't. So these are going to have to probably be trimmed down a little bit as well. So you can see from there that the height of the pages are all really good. So they fit in there nicely. Now, as you can see, we've got excess on the pages here. Sorry about the noise too. That's my washing machine in the background there. We've actually got a beautiful fine day with no rain. So I'm trying to madly get all my washing done and dried. So these I will trim down. So you can see this here needs to be trimmed down. So that's what I do, is I just sort of lay them in the cover. You know, like we could probably get away with those, but I will trim these few down, these wider ones. So those two, I'm going to trim just a fraction off, just even 1/4 of an inch. And those I probably wouldn't even really be too concerned about. So I'm just going to trim about 1/4 of an inch off these. And the same with this one. Has anyone had any problem with their Tim Holtz cutter? Mine is just, I thought it was supposed to sharpen itself when it cuts. Mine has just been really playing up lately, so I'm not overly impressed. I don't know whether it's just out of sync or what's going on. Nothing worse than having a blunt cutter. Okay. So that is 2 pages that I've got there. And what I've done with this is, just for a little bit more added interest, I've just folded these up like that. And I'm going to actually sew these, so we'll do that shortly. And then they're pockets, and then you can just decorate this bit. You can do it before you sew it if you want to. I'm just trying to think, do I want to do that? Probably not, because I might even just do like some little clusters and just stick on there for decoration. So because I've got them both folded the same way, this one I'm actually going to fold this way, just so that as you're flipping through the journal, so like this, hang on a sec, let's pretend. Just pop the cover up there. So when I do my journals, I do like the first page to hide all those pages that are of different sizes. That little bit excess sticking out doesn't concern me, but I just like to hide all the different size pages. I know in one breath I say they don't worry me, in another breath I say they do. So I don't know, that's just my little idiosyncrasies. So I folded these different ways. So when you're flicking through your book, you've got your pockets on the inside. Does that make sense? And then if you fold your pockets the other way, you're flipping and you've got your pockets on the outside of your signature. So I'm just going to pop these in randomly. As I said, these aren't going to stay where they are because I've got pages the same together, and I'll end up sort of maneuvering them around a little bit as I go. So all right, so there's our signatures, and you might have noticed I went to throw these out and I put them to the side. These are really good to stamp on, and because you've got these pages in your journal, it's good to bring that colorway, because they are quite a yellow colored paper. It's good to bring that colorway in through your journal so it all just blends together. Okay, so what have we got there? I'm just going to move that one just because it's annoying me, and then I'm going to put that in the middle. Okay, I just need a sip of my coffee. My cold coffee now. So that's pretty much how I do the papers. So I've trimmed them down, and you can see that there's still, some of them are still poking out a little bit. I'm not sure what's going on there. So this can have a little bit more trimmed off. I don't actually know whether I did trim that one off before. Your pages are going to get wrecked if you have them sticking out the side of your journal too much. So I'm just going to pop that back in there. I'm all thumbs today. So that's pretty much your signature. Now, it doesn't look very thick at the moment. We haven't decorated anything, so that is going to grow. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27 pages I've got there. So as I said, normally I like 25, so that gives you 100 pages front and back, and that doesn't count, you know, like as we're going through I may add, you know, little pieces of decorative scrapbooking paper in there. I don't count those smaller pieces, just to add interest to the journal. Okay, so what I do now is with my bits of fabric that I've got, I probably go through and just go, okay, so we've got these bits of fabric. Do I want to sew in any fabric flips? Do I want to use the fabric to add fabric ruffles? You know, that sort of thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have a little bit of a look through, and as I said, once again, these pages aren't necessarily going to be where they will be at the end. Does that make sense? So sometimes what I like to do as well is I like to go, okay, I like this page, I think I'm going to put a fabric flip here. So I will actually take this page out, and so I might do fabric on this page here, and then this on the back of the page that is in the back of the journal, I might do fabric again and do a fabric ruffle. Just, I don't know why I do that. I just, you know, sometimes I might, you know, like if this page I might put a pocket there, and then I'll put a pocket here. Just while I've got the page out, I don't know. As I said, I don't know why I do it. I just do it. So I'm really loving that rose. So what I'm thinking is I might make that into a fabric flip. So I'm just going to dig out my pinking shears. So if you can just bear with me, I will be back. I'll go and drag them out, and I'm going to cut that. Won't be long. Okay, so I found my pinking shears. While I was gone, I just had dug out some trims, And I found this lace, so I quite like this lace. So what I'm going to do is, just so that it's not too overpowering all the to our senses, I'm just going to move that out of the way. And I'm just going to have my page that I'm going to work on. And I'm just sort of having a little bit of a look and see, you know, where exactly I like. So I think I'm going to use this rose. I do really love that butterfly too. I mean, there's no reason why I can't do 2 flips. I could even make a pocket. So what I'm going to do is I am just going to trim this, and I'm just going to use pinking shears just so that it doesn't fray, just down the side. I don't throw that bit away because that will come in handy at some stage, if not for this journal, for something else. And then I'm just going to cut down there as well. You can leave your edges and sew them so that they fray. I like to do that as well. I don't know, I just thought I'd do this today. So wow, how crooked is that? My goodness. Okay, maybe if I put my glasses on. Hang on a sec. Okay, let's try that again. Goodness me. It's a bit of a concern. I work in a fabric store and I cut that crooked. Hope my boss doesn't watch this. Okay, that's a bit better. Now this isn't ironed, it doesn't really matter. So, I mean, it blends into the page a little bit. That's okay. I don't mind that. I wanted to put something on the base just to sort of give it a bit of weight so that it just doesn't all flop everywhere and fold up in the journal. So I found this lace that I had coffee dyed or tea dyed. And I'm not minding that at all, actually. But I think what I want to do is, even because it's very delicate, I'm thinking I might even put a little bit of book paper or something on the bottom just to give it a little bit of oomph so that I can sew that lace to that. So I just need to find, I mean, this is where you could even use that. I don't like that though. So I'm just going to dig out. I've got a big book here that I don't know. It's a New Webster's Encyclopedia of Dictionaries. I got it for $10. It is huge. There's so many pages. I've got so many of these types of books that I need to really start using them. So sometimes what I like to try and do is I try and get a page with the words, something to do with the journal that I'm working on, and I've probably already taken out botanical. Let me just have a look. It's a good idea to botulism. It's a good idea to read the words that you're putting on, because you don't want anything too risque or totally not in keeping with what journal you're making. So here I've got botany. Where did I see that? Botany, where are you? Here. So there's botany here. I'm actually liking that as something that I can put on a tag. So I'm very roughly just going to cut that out. So that's what you can do as well, is you can go through any of your old dictionaries and we can use this on a tag later, you know, a description of what botany is. That's very roughly cut out. So I'm just going to pop that to the side as well so that we can utilize that. And I'm going to have another look. Bologna. We're going there. Oh, look, here's a book. Let's just, okay, I'm just going to really roughly cut that out. Today's word is roughly. So we've got book. So I'm going to tear this. You're probably thinking, what the hell is she doing? It's all over the shop. And that I am. So I just don't want words that don't relate to what I'm doing on here, basically. So and I wanted just to add something for a little bit more support on the bottom of this flip. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to glue that, because I'm going to be sewing the lace trim onto it as well. So I'm just going to glue that onto the bottom of the fabric. I haven't ever used glue stick on fabric before, so I have no idea whether it's going to work. And I always get glue everywhere, so I'm just going to wipe that up. So just hope my head's not in the way. I'm just going to sort of position it. I don't want to hide too much of that rose, so I'm just positioning it there. And then I'm just going to trim. So probably not a good idea to use your good pinking shears that you use for fabric on paper, but I'm only doing a small area. So just pretend you didn't see that, okay? Probably got glue all over them now. Okay, so just get rid of that. And I don't want that excess book paper on the bottom here either. So I'm just going to trim that off as well. Okay. So you can just see, I don't know whether you can see, but it's just given it a little bit of weight, that page, so it's not going to flap around, because I have done fabric flips, just fabric before, and then you come back to your journal and they've all sort of folded up like that. So with a little bit of weight, they won't tend to do that. So now I'm just going to use my liquid glue. Now this is my glue of choice. It's just a Crafter's Choice craft glue. It's pretty much an all-purpose clear glue, and it just sticks to anything. So I love this stuff. I get it from the local Spotlight here in town. Yeah, I go through it like you wouldn't believe. So that's what I'm using. I've just got it in a smaller container here because it is quite smelly, and I found that if I use the bigger bottle I get headaches. So I don't know how that works. I guess it just comes out in smaller doses in this bottle, so I just find that I work better using this. So I'm just going to glue the trim to this book paper. And I've lost the cap, so I've got a hat pin in there. So I'm just going to glue this, try and center that a little bit, I think. Just going to glue that down, and then I'm actually going to sew that so that it stays there, and then we will sew it to the top of the page as well. Okay, so while that's drying, and I'm just going to trim, because you can see there's excess trim here. Just going to trim that down. This one hasn't really got that much at all, so we'll just trim that down, and that's the start of your flip. So while that's drying, because I don't particularly want to run that through the sewing machine while that liquid glue's on there. So as I said before, this is one page. So normally what I tend to do is I like to go to the back of the page that's going to be in the back of the journal, do something else that's related to fabric. So what I might do is I'm going to just roughly tear this. And I'm going to make a sew a fabric ruffle on this page, I think. I've got all my threads everywhere. I'm just going to sew that. So what I'll do is I'm just going to pull my sewing machine over. Oh, everything's just fallen down now. Okay. I think I've lost a leg on this or something. Something's happened. Oh no, it's on the edge of the my board. Okay. So I don't know whether you can see this. You probably can't. I have done a video before on how I do my fabric ruffles, and sometimes what I like to do as well is just have it start at the top, because I like things sticking out the top of my journals as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave about that much, because I'm going to use that as like a tab. So I might even make that a little bit more. And sorry guys, you probably can't see. See, this is what I do. I just fiddle and carry on, change my mind with lots of things as I'm decorating. So now I haven't put a lot of glue because I want to sew it, so I don't want too much liquid to gum up my machine. So I've just put a tiny little bit of glue there, and what I'm doing is I'm folding that over, so as you can see, and that will be a tab. Now that's going to stick out the top of our journal. Okay, so the reason I've done that is I just want to catch that tab at the back in this ruffle as well. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly sew this ruffle. I'm just using a zigzag stitch and my favorite colored Razant thread. So it's a dark, it's a grey brown. I'm not even sure what the color is called actually. Now, because this isn't going to go to the full length of the page, and that's fine. It's just because it's a scrap of fabric, so I will just keep sewing this ruffle until I run out of fabric. For a second. So as you can see, that length of fabric only has done a ruffle that size. That's okay. I just think that's a beautiful, it's a tactile decoration in your journal. I like to keep my threads hanging as well. Probably a little bit long, but I will go through, if they're too long I'll go back through later and trim them off. So that's the page, and then that tab has been caught in there as well. So now what I can do is go through to the back of it and actually put a little bit more glue just to keep that piece down like so, and that one's pretty well stuck down. So the tab's not going to come apart, it's stuck in there for good. Okay, so sometimes I might go through and I might put a little bit of cheesecloth there and a butterfly or something, but that will be done once the signature is actually sewn in. So I like to, as I said, I like to sew with the machine on my pages while they're out of the journal. It just makes life so much easier. Okay, so this glue should be pretty well dry now. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to sew zigzag stitch across the top here for this flip. can imagine trying to do this with the pages sewn into your journal. It'd be an absolute nightmare. Okay. Just getting that in place. Okay. Okay, so there we have a fabric flip in there. So it's beautiful, you know, like if you want some personal journaling, you can hide it under there, and it just adds another tactile piece to your journal. I love flips and tucks and fold outs and all that sort of thing. So, and as I said, I leave my threads. I know some of you are probably cringing at the thought of that hanging. Whoever does win it, if they don't like the threads hanging, you can, by all means, it'll be your journal, you can do whatever you want to do with it. So and what I should have done, which I forgot, I was going to sew down there, so I should have done that before I sewed that onto the page. This isn't such a big deal because we can hang the page out the side, but normally I would have done that prior to sewing it to the page. So we'll just quickly do that. And I'm so sorry if that's making the camera jump. Okay, so there you go. I've just sewn that, and that just made it so much easier to sew, just sewing it onto that piece of paper that we have glued on there. And it also just gives it a little bit more substance. So once again, I'm just leaving all my threads hanging. And there you have a fabric flip and a beautiful little fabric ruffle for one of your pages. So very quick video today. I'm going to have to leave it there, guys. I've got a heap to do, so I'm going to head off. I may do a little bit more of the journal as I get a chance off camera. I don't know. This is all a just wait and see what happens type of journal. Not at the 2,000 subscriber mark yet, but as I said, I just wanted to do this from scratch just so that you can see my process and how I go about putting together a journal. So as I said, I'll leave it there. I am going to head off, so down below I will have the question if you want to get another entry into trying to win this journal when it's completed. If you answer that correctly and you're a subscriber and you like this video, I will pop you in the tin to be a contender for the journal once it's all completed, or we reach 2,000 subscribers. So yeah, thanks guys. I will talk to you soon. Hopefully it won't be too long between videos, and I hope you get a little bit of crafting time in. Take care. Bye bye.